Good Friday afternoon, everyone. Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, here with you on the Weekend Big Show as we bring you sports previews and wrap up some of the stuff during the week in the world of sports here on Law Dog Sports. And once again, I am joined by my good partner, Jeremy Schroeder, who's here with me regardless of his opportunity to say, Chuck, you really can't accomplish this thing anymore. So the fact that you stick it out with me week by week definitely makes me feel pretty nice inside. And it's just one of those things where I have tried to do what we used to do on a regular basis, and apparently it's just not in the cards anymore, Jeremy. So we will just record and drop a podcast and hope that folks listen, because the interaction from Facebook Live seems to be beyond my technological grasp.
We're going to figure this out. I'm going to research this, but I got to escape the back to school shopping on tax-free weekend to come inside the air conditioning. We've been up there at the outlets out there on I-40 and Council.
Yeah,
and it's about 1,000 degrees outside, and wow, yeah, it's nice to be home, sitting in my living room under the ceiling fans with the AC on.
Well, and I'm glad you're there, and crank it up, because we definitely want to crush the power grid, given the opportunity. So
I want to get my money's worth this month,
Shoot, yeah. I mean, here's the funny thing, Jeremy, is, and I hope this isn't a signature of my age, but we keep it on about 73, and in the afternoons when it's the hottest, we put it on 74. That's not for economical or energy saving reasons. That's because that feels so much cooler than it does outside. But I mean, I hope I'm not becoming that old guy that, stays cold all the time.
No. I try to tell, Claudia and the kids, if you're hot in here, step outside for a minute and come back in.
Yeah, come back in.
That'll cool you off.
And the funny thing is I have all this summer, I have slept with nothing more than a sheet and like a throw just kind of draped over the foot of the bed to cover my feet. Because and the rest, I haven't been uncomfortable. So I guess I'm getting to that point where I'm not as hot-blooded. Maybe, I don't know, but it's one of those things where we'll see how this goes through the rest of this weekend, because I saw a story yesterday where they said fire trucks were having to go to Cushing, I think, and just hose down equipment at their transformer station, because the oils and stuff that were getting hot and friction and stuff like that. I was like, Cushing, it's a smaller town, but they have a ton of infrastructure there, pipelines, crossroads of the universe, and your power grids gotta get cooled down. That's bad.
That's not good at all. Yeah, we could use some rain. It's supposed to cool off this coming week, so
I'm ready
for a day. Then it's gonna get hot again.
Football starts on Monday for high school teams practicing. They start. They don't really do 2-a-days anymore, unlike back in the day.
Well, because they're all soft now.
Yeah, I tell you, they may be soft, but they're really big.
Yeah.
The size. I can remember guys that were humongous linemen when I was in high school, and it's like I hear these numbers on some of these high school offensive linemen. I'm like, my gosh. Can you imagine what Barry Switzer would have done in the wishbone with some of these guys now?
He would have had undersized linemen, and they'd been, quick.
Yeah. I mean, I know he was looking for other things, but I mean, I don't know. Just, imagine. I mean, here's the thing. Phil Lodeholt, to me, is still the largest lineman I can think of that was actually, functional, good,
Yes.
I mean, just think about the size of Trent Williams and Lane Johnson. Those guys are just monsters.
They are. I have the opportunity to see them quite often and just marvel at the sheer size. Good Lord.
Was that the Health Club?
No. They fly on airplanes.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're the master of the airways.
That's right. Yeah.
Well,
they're just monsters. Just not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, football got underway last night with the Hall of Fame game, and Canton, Ohio. Apparently, their power grid was struggling as well. They had a power outage in right before the fourth quarter, and I tell you, I don't as an official, I hate to be the messenger that has to let Robert Sala or Kevin Stefanski know that, hey guys, we may not be able to continue because man, the looks they were giving those officials. I just want to say those guys didn't flip off the lights,
No, no,
break.
but I'm sure by that point in the game, everybody else in America had already changed the channel. Because you got a Thursday night Hall of Fame preseason game with Zach Wilson starting,
And
um,
on.
the NBC crew calling it. Yeah, I watched about 5 minutes of that and like, yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of Zach Wilson. I saw a little bit of Kellen Mond, and it looks like to me, Deshaun Watson regarding whatever happens with him in the near future if he gets wrapped up in some silliness again. But I mean, I think they're pretty high on DTR.
DTR serviceable. He could play.
Yeah. He reminds me of about 5 other UCLA quarterbacks that have kind of been journeymen in the league. And oh,
Deshaun Kaiser. No, he played for Notre Dame.
yeah. Gosh, there's one. I think he's been in Baltimore. Isn't he like Lamar's backup or
Oh
something?
no, he played at Utah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, I can't think of his name, but yeah, he played at Utah.
Okay. So
He's
anyway,
up, but those guys have played at Utah and Oregon.
yeah, yeah.
Dennis Dixon.
Yeah. Well, and since you brought up the magic word, I've got, some magic audio here because Big 12 could be, here's secret audio of Kevin Yormark at a at a meeting between athletic directors.
Did you say Ute? What is a Ute?
So
Wow.
my question is, and we'll go into the college football section here as we just kind of bounce around, but Big 12 realignment looks like it's kind of just I don't know. It's like with Oppenheimer being out in the theaters right now, it's kind of like I envision when Germany was falling and Russia and the United States were scrambling to try to find German atomic scientists, just
Right now, it's
grab
like
what
that.
you can.
It's right now. It's like that fake video from the atomic bomb tests. Where they show they show the house being blown away and all this
Yeah.
stuff, and then you
Oh
see the
yeah.
truck drive up in the background, but nothing happens to the camera. And even though it was like ground zero of an atomic test.
Sure.
Uh,
That's the Pac-12.
wow,
So,
man.
announcement made. Go ahead.
I understood when Oklahoma and Texas met. I understood Oklahoma most of all being here and seeing what it does to the
Mm,
game day atmosphere
yeah.
and everything, having all these 11 a.m. kickoffs. How in the world did the Pac-12 screw this up so badly?
Well, yeah. I mean,
No media rights, no contract. You're talking streaming is going to be your
yeah.
main
Apple. Weren't they
platform.
looking at Apple?
They were looking at the CW. They were looking at Apple.
Hallmark
They
Network.
were yeah, they're going to have their tier 1 rights on what ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
It is just a mess,
Yeah.
an absolute mess. And with Klivkoff or
Yeah.
however you say his name, they should fire him today,
Yeah. He
just
should
today.
be shown the door quickly. And reports today saying that the Big Ten will invite Washington and Oregon. So,
Utah better put on their fishnets and their high heels and start selling because they might get left out. And that's a
well,
good football program up there.
so Arizona comes, I would think Arizona State's a package deal because their board of regents probably is
Well,
not
I
gonna
mean,
separate them.
you would think Oregon State would have been a package deal, but Oregon bailed.
Yeah.
Um, Washington. You look at Oregon State and Washington State. They're
Mhm.
group of 5 now,
Yeah.
unless they can cobble together some halfway decent names and keep that
Well, I mean,
Power
but
5 status.
the funny thing you mention is, and maybe I know I just get sentimental for the old, some of the group of 5 conferences and things like that. But I mean, I've always had a penchant for Mountain West, and the Mountain West just got better. I mean,
Yeah,
Oregon State and Wazoo are nice additions for them. I don't, the money's not going to be worth a crap, but I mean, uh, Mountain West After Dark or anything like that's going to be some pretty interesting games now. I mean, I know it's too optimistic, but that's just how I feel.
I know. You're glass half full because it's not happening to you.
That's true.
Or anybody you root for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Stanford is maybe the most attractive out of that group to jump to another conference just because of academics and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, Big 12, they're not going to go to the Big 12. And maybe Big 10, they seem like a Big 10 type school.
Yeah.
Who else is left?
I mean, Cal, Stanford,
Cal, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, middle America probably looks at Cal about the way the Pac-12 looked at Baylor 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That
pretty
is
much
the center of liberalism. And I would
And you
imagine
think about was it in 2012, 2011 when Oklahoma and Oklahoma State were all but gone to the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And well, they dropped the ball then. And so they got rid of that commissioner, brought in a worse commissioner, and now there's nothing left.
You owned the hours of 8 o'clock
Yes.
to midnight.
And that's 8 o'clock
time zone all the way to the Pacific.
You forgive me if I'm wrong, or correct me if I'm wrong, but 8 o'clock is still in the primetime hours, yes?
The last I checked here. And
right
you
on.
game at 6 o'clock in LA on a Saturday.
In LA.
LA.
The only thing you're not reaching is that East Coast. And once you get past the Midwest, no one cares about college football.
I mean, the only thing you would have a drawback on, Jeremy, is the fact that television sets in the Southeast. When you say East Coast, I'm thinking everything south of Maryland, because I mean, my apologies to our good friend MJ Baird, but I mean, nobody in Baston's watching college football anywhere at all. In September, if the Red Sox are pretty good, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. You're right.
Same
and
thing
the people below
City.
People below the Mason-Dixon line, I guess that could be our line of demarcation here, are all insane or are going to stay up to watch those games.
Yeah.
You're going to get good ratings in the Southeast. You're going to get good ratings in the Central Time Zone. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get good ratings in the second largest media market in the nation because nobody in LA cares about college football.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. To me, I just think of the times that I used to enjoy staying up late on a Saturday night to watch Mike Stoops and the UA Wildcats, bear down on some some Pac-12 competition. But with Utah and so correct me if I'm wrong, Arizona and Arizona State are probably in.
I would imagine that Arizona is in.
Yeah.
Now they had a Zoom call today, and the people that viewed it seemed to think that Arizona, either they were in or their president deserved an Oscar. I'm talking about in with the Pac-12. Oh. Now, if you look at a conference headlining with Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, Cal, Stanford, I mean, that's 5 decent teams, decent schools. You're still not going to get a good TV deal because those really aren't there's no marquee names there.
No.
Utah and Washington State are your 2 best football schools left.
Utah benefited much more from joining the Pac-12 than the Pac-12 benefited from Utah joining.
No, and it seems like they just got into the Pac-12. Now the Pac-12 is going to detonate.
Yeah. And, the thing about it is that whole league, and apparently all football on the West Coast, is just kind of a, how cool are things going to be today at the game? I mean, their passion is very, dependent on true, success and things like that. It
doesn't even matter how successful they are.
Utah fans probably brought an injection of some enthusiasm and fanaticism that league had not.
Sure. Well, and Oregon's Oregon's was probably Oregon and Utah and probably Oregon State to a certain extent were probably the best game day atmospheres in that conference.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe Arizona State because it's a big party school.
Yeah.
But you look at, right now, and USC was okay. We can say USC was good last year, right?
Yeah, they had a
They
hell.
maybe had one game when they filled half the Coliseum, maybe one.
Yeah. I mean,
Same thing with UCLA. And UCLA wasn't a terrible football team last year. Heck, they got a really good coach.
is it a situation where they get caught on too late? And
I don't know.
Here's another thing. And I go back to the early 2000s with my sons, and we only got we need to move on to something else real quick. But my sons lived in Phoenix, and the Nebraska and Notre Dame contingent in that area were thick.
Mm-hmm.
I think I traveled out there to see them one weekend. It was the Jason White torn ACL game against Nebraska.
Oh yeah.
I think I took my boys to a restaurant to try to watch part of it and get us a bite to eat, and it was full. I mean, there's huge Nebraska contingent back then.
Well, see, you should have went to the Tilted Kilt over there in Scottsdale, which is an OU bar.
We were in West Valley, so sorry.
Okay.
Remember
Ron Lynch?
Who?
Ron Lynch.
Ron Lynch, not right.
Yeah, he's Normanian. He had a couple of sporting goods stores around these parts, and then pulled up stakes and moved out there and opened a bar.
Oh, okay. The Twisted Kilt.
Tilted Kilt.
Tilted Kilt. Okay.
Yep.
Well, if I'm ever out there again, I'll have to check that out. But anyways, what I'm saying is they even had an advertisement for the Nebraska Fans Organization on the local sports talk radio. So they were huge. That could be something that USC and UCLA start looking at when they're in the Big Ten, is that when UCLA, brings in Iowa from, to play in the Rose Bowl, that Iowa fans look at it as like, oh, chance to go to the Rose Bowl, a pass.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something I think that they would factor in. But the thing about it is the Arizona State and the Arizona addition to the Big 12 made so much sense 5-6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it makes sense now. They're more footprint than half the teams that the Big 12's added.
Yeah. I mean,
but how many of those USC and UCLA fans are really going to travel to, Wisconsin in December?
They're not. And Lincoln Riley may not even travel.
No, he's probably going to be a head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
He's Gabber Butt was talking today about Pencil Neck was talking today, and he poo-pooed it, because I'm sure he's in so tight with an LR.
Sure.
But Baker struggles at Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers get the number 1 pick, draft Caleb, and he jumps to the league to coach Caleb.
Oh. Well, I don't care for the Buccaneers, so that's fine.
Who does? Hey, real quick, last thing on college football is I was looking over some previews and things like that. Interesting this week that Gavin Freeman, the sophomore wide receiver, came out and said that and I looked at the timeline, and it would have been Sonny Cumbie. It would have been the Sonny Cumbie regime after they fired Matt Wells, but apparently he was committed to Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's using his basically being shunned from the Tech recruiting, because I guess there was a wide receiver coach that said he was told,
Yeah, well, it's his wide receivers coach now.
Okay, yeah. And Matt Wells is there too. And when I read that, I thought, well, if that was Wells, that's got to be a little awkward. But no, it had to have been Cumbie.
Uh-huh.
They hadn't hired McGuire yet. But here's the thing. Sterling Shepard taught me a lesson. An Oklahoma City-based private school wide receiver, I will bank on him every day.
Wes Welker,
Sterling Shepard, and I don't want to name school particularly because I we got teams out here that are going to play them. So, but I mean, that particular school right there produced 2 really standout wide receivers and potentially 3, because Venables is saying he's going to be a top addition to the core.
Man, you don't know how many 40-plus-year-old men on Twitter are just raving on how much work Gavin Freeman's put in with Smitty.
Yeah,
I will say I did see him the other day, and he's looking thicker.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I mean,
he's up to 2 C's, man.
wow. You got to bulk up. I mean, you can't be, as a little guy. That's hey, and speaking of, and I don't know if somebody did something with a filter or what, but did you see the clips of Deuce Vaughn in Cowboys camp?
God, he looks so little. No,
Oh
I
my
don't think anybody
gosh,
did anything with the filter. He's just that dang small.
he didn't look that small running up and down against OU last year.
I, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he literally
Man.
looks 5'3",
Well,
Jeremy.
when he's in motion, he looks a lot smaller because he's closer to the ground.
Yes, so I mean, hard to tackle. We'll see how
That's
that.
why they can't. That's why it's hard to tackle him because he's wee.
Yeah, we man. Well, I mean, I'd seen clips of him before, seen him run, never noticed him being that much smaller than every other person on the field. I mean, it was just, it literally looked like a fifth grader out there running around with him.
Well, what was his predecessor? Oh man, played for the Chargers for years. From Kansas State, Darren Sproles.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went. He never got hurt in the league until that last year when he broke his arm and hurt his knee.
Yeah, that was.
But he played what
ages.
12, 13 years.
Oh
and
yeah,
never had a major injury.
He was very productive all that time too.
Well, Barry Sanders wasn't a massive dude, and he was just so hard to find and hit that he never really got hurt.
Just saying. I mean, Quentin Griffin, if he could have held on, probably would have had a better pro career. But man, Q made Deuce Vaughn look.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, anyways, so Gavin Freeman, that was kind of one thing I wanted to mention, and then also I was looking at Tulsa University with Kevin Wilson coming in first season. Have you seen who their offensive coordinator is?
Well, I could have told you had you not asked me.
Wow. Former OU assistant.
Yeah.
Hired on 99.
Hired on in 99. Well, it's not Kale. I can't remember. Who is
the
it?
Receivers coach from 99 to 02 or 03.
Oh.
Steve Spurrier Jr.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Who I will contend now from now, whether they say it's a hill I'll die on, maybe minus Sumlin, best receivers coach OU's had in the last 25 years.
So this current one, yes.
We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that can recruit. I'll tell you that right now.
Sure. But you look at because Lance Donnelly told me that Curtis, I remember them saying in the Sports Illustrated article that when Stoops came in, that Curtis Fagan couldn't touch his toes.
Yeah, he was very stiff.
Donnelly said it was knees. He couldn't bend over and touch his knees. So that what Steve Spurrier did with that receiving core during that time to me was just really, really amazing.
Yes, Antoine Savage wasn't a highly thought of recruit. Damian Mackey.
Yeah, Mackey.
Remember, Andre Woolfolk was a receiver on that with that bunch.
02. Mackey, I kind of looked at him as the glue in that core until he got hurt. I mean, he was
Emmett Jones.
Who?
Emmett Jones is OU's receivers coach.
Yeah. Okay, and
I don't know why I couldn't think of his name.
He's the one that told Freeman that they cooled off on him pretty hard and loved
I guess. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Well, Steve Spurrier Jr. at
that's cool.
Kevin Wilson, I like that.
Yeah. Are they going to run? Are they going to run the fun and gun Old Florida offense out there?
They're going to run the Chuck Third and Long. No, no.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, think about this: if Spurrier Senior doesn't get antsy and jump to the Gamecocks of Carolina, Spurrier probably sticks around a little longer.
He probably ends up as an OC at some point.
Sure.
Yeah.
To me, I was always impressed with the fact that they brought him in. So,
and I always liked Kevin Wilson's offense, and he's been under Wilson a couple of times now. So
yeah,
that should be something to look forward to.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. American Athletic Conference will be fairly wide open, I guess. Maybe Tom Herman and Tom Herman and Casey Thompson will. Are they in?
Oh, I forgot Casey Thompson went to FAU. Oh my goodness.
Is FAU in the American now, or are they still in Conference USA?
I thought they were in Conference USA.
I think they might have moved up.
They may. Is that? Oh wow. Is that Is that a step up?
Well, I mean, depending on how you look at it. Hey, jumping to the round ball, I noticed that breaking news today was that street clothes Anthony Davis signed a max
Oh, Anthony
deal
Day to
extension.
Davis.
Yeah, max extension with the Lakers. So good luck with that. There, what's the guy's name? That's the GM. Well, I guess
Mitch.
no, it's not Kupchak anymore.
That's not Kupchak anymore.
It's Kobe's friend. Yeah,
Oh yeah, his old agent.
yeah, yeah. So
Well, he's a Clutch Sports client, so he was going to get his. That's who's running the Lakers. Clutch Sports.
sure.
Made
Uh,
half the league.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing. They've gotten to me, they've gotten as much as they're gonna. I think they've gotten as much as they're gonna get out of it.
Is it too early to start criticizing the Lakers and LeBron after the uh, near tragedy with his son?
I mean, I'm not gonna go after him. I mean, digging him about being the GM. I mean, that's just common observation. I mean, no
Yeah, they
either.
were better without him than they were with him this last year. I'm just gonna. I mean, that's just facts.
Yeah.
So remember, he was out with that torn tendon that would have killed a normal man, according to him,
Oh yeah.
when they got back into contention.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, praise the Lord, his son is doing well, and
Yes,
never ever want to go after that. But here's the
I
deal: 3 years, $186 million max extension. He'll be
yeah.
2028.
Well, you have that. That's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is the team across town, or the team in the same building that's
Yeah.
going to be across town soon, finally said, you know what, this is not working, and declined to extend both Kawhi and Pandemic P.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is nobody's going to be able to top. I mean, I don't know what Golden State's going to look like really with Chris Paul on the floor at the same time with Steph Curry and the
That just has the strangest feel to it.
it really does. And my thinking is until Denver, unless something were to happen to Jokic, it's their conference.
Yeah, and
Their AD couldn't hang at
and
all.
I'm a big Chris Paul fan.
Sure, I am too.
He brought the NBA. I mean, he was the guy. He was the one, our first,
Oh yeah,
sports star,
yeah.
professional star here in Oklahoma City when the Hornets came here. But he is going to save Steph's legs until he inevitably pulls a hamstring in the second round of the playoffs, and then it's going to be business as usual for the Warriors.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that with Chris Paul, he's been so close. He's
I
been,
know it's heartbreaking
somehow
as a
Milwaukee,
sports fan.
yeah, somehow Milwaukee was just able to, but really that team that he was on at Houston, had he not gotten hurt, probably
Mm-hmm.
would have gotten a title.
Or they would have come close. They.
I mean, they were up 2 games on Golden State, weren't they?
This is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Much like another team that I remember.
That was 3-1. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I mean, it's just I like the guy. He got hosed so hard by the league when Stern blocked the trade to go play with Kobe.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
and back then I remember thinking, well, yeah, you should block it. There's no way he go to a stacked team and blah blah blah. Look at it now.
I know. I mean, we were just when the Lakers got Pau Gasol, it's like, oh well, they're just setting them up.
Oh yeah.
It's the league's just catering to the Lakers. Now every team has 3 guys that are like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every contending team. Well, yeah, nah, maybe not Denver, and they just won a title. Would you look at that?
They did. I mean, and obviously you can still do it. And that's a good question. What is the magic key to getting that championship? I mean,
So who won the title the year before last?
that was
The Bucks,
Bucks. Yeah.
and they didn't have a big three.
They're pretty much homegrown. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Maybe that's coming back around. That bodes well for me and my Thunder.
I would think it would bode well for Miami, but apparently, that has,
Miami says so weird. It's like you look at their bench; they don't have a single guy that was drafted.
yeah, or
Yeah.
Boston.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But we'll see how much how much regular season time Anthony Davis puts in. I'm almost certain that it's obviously a strategy, work these guys a little bit through the regular season, get in the 8th or ninth seed and make a run as much as you can.
I do like that they've set number of game minimums
Mm-hmm.
to qualify for awards, qualify for scoring title, qualify for MVP, qualify for Rookie of the Year. So that maybe that's important to some of these guys. And Utah and Arizona State have applied for formal membership in the Big 12.
Okay, so they
Breaking news.
Yeah.
Where's my sound?
Hold on. I can look you up. Where'd that go? Used to have it.
It's okay. There we go. Predictions coming true all day long.
Oh yeah, and let's get the Utes.
Did you say Ute? What is a Ute?
I'm a fan. You know what? Maybe I will watch the Big 12 now that Utah's in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I'm going to watch OSU and Tech. That's kind of thing that I've been akin to.
Yeah. Kyle Willingham's like my spirit animal, so
I was
I'm
thinking
very
Cam Rising was you like you guys were.
he looks like he should be in like a Three Musketeers movie.
Yeah.
D'Artagnan.
Well, I had breaking.
That's okay. We'll be all right.
Well, so as Jeremy reported, it is now official that the University of Arizona and Arizona State University will be applying for admission into the Big 12, which I think the Big 12 said last night they were extending it an official invitation, and then they with the Arizona State Board of Regents, not the University of Arizona, but like the ones to tie it up, the ones to sign off on both teams, and apparently that will happen. So now, hey, football in 4 corners, my friend,
and basketball is going to be great.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and when they're on big noon kickoff, they're going to kick off at 10 a.m. out there.
Yeah, that's.
Is Utah in the Pacific time zone? Or are they Mountain?
I think they're Mountain, and
they
Mountain time as opposed to here is like
it's an hour earlier.
Well, it's 1 hour early. Well, I'm just thinking Arizona. Sorry, Mountain time is 1 hour back. Arizona doesn't recognize daylight savings, so in the wintertime they're 1 hour behind, and in the summertime they're 2 hours behind.
Okay,
so
I'm really going to be confused by that. It's okay.
Back, they don't, and so it's just an hour gap.
It doesn't affect us; it affects them.
No, you'll be watching, some Gamecock and Sooner games, like I said, at 10 a.m.
Not at 10 a.m. No,
11.
No, because it'll still be 11 o'clock out there.
Pilot Sports going to be carrying,
which when this big noon kickoff, it will actually be 1 o'clock if they're playing in South Carolina.
Yeah. Wait.
See?
Yeah, if they're in Carolina, I'm talking about here. I don't consider any time zone but my own that I'm in.
Yeah, see, I'm like Ben Franklin over here. I'm just coming up with it right and left. Wasn't he the one who came up with the time zones?
What was that?
I don't know. That was weird. Was that you?
What I thought. Oh,
I
think Siri's listening to me.
I don't see any.
I'm here.
Huh.
Yeah, that's weird.
That was weird.
Is that? Man, I'm telling you, Jeremy, technologically, I have sprung a leak, brother.
It's okay.
Okay, so Arizona State to the Big 12, more than likely, guaranteed. And we'll see if the invitation extends to Utah or if they are planning some home and homes or some conference games with Utah State. And
I just kind of feel like this has turned into a college football show. So how many teams does that put the Big 10 at, adding the 2?
So they were at 14, right? Or no, they were at 12.
So they'll be at 16. Okay.
Yeah. So,
With pulling. Okay.
so man, Yahoo Sports is dragging behind. I haven't seen that update come on there.
And the Big 12 should be at 16 now with if they take the
I think
next three.
If they took
Okay.
it would be because Colorado, they were at OU and Texas left. That put them
At 10.
at 10.
And then
10.
they brought 3 in, so they're going to be they're going to have 17.
No, 4. Colorado, Utah, Arizona State, if they get Utah.
Okay.
Colorado,
All
Arizona, Utah State. I'm sure they want to get it
right. And they brought in BYU, Houston, UCF, and
Cincinnati.
So that would put them at 14, 12 minus OU and Texas. So that'll put them at 16. Okay.
16. Gosh.
Yeah.
Math is hard.
Math is hard.
Hey, did you see our post on Law Dog Sports that we're doing fantasy football this season?
I did. I was messing with that, but I was at work, so kind of yeah.
You're busy airways, so
sure, that's what I'm doing.
Diego Germán, Yankees pitcher, enters rehab issues. That's
rehab with alcohol issues.
I said alcohol.
Wow. Okay, so 2 nights ago, he was scratched from a start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was the one.
And then they pitched him anyways later in the game.
Huh.
They brought him out of the pen.
Yeah. Well,
because he had a sore armpit.
There was a clubhouse incident, but now he's expected to enter alcohol rehab after.
Have a season. No hitter, rehab.
I thought his ERA was skyrocketing. Wasn't he?
Well, I mean,
terrible season.
He threw a no a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so early on, I think he was struggling, but maybe a few drinks and he could see. maybe he could see the pitch call better.
Maybe.
But, and it brings up a good point, and I kind of wanted to get into this. So he has an incident apparently in the clubhouse with his team, whatever the deal was. We've got, I know there's been times when professional sports and the rap sheets can kind of coincide, but it seems to me like in this day and time, when you are worth a certain amount of money, you should realize, okay, I'm Alvin Kamara. How about
3-game suspension?
Yeah, 3-game suspension for a fight that he got in Vegas. He's apparently, done a mea culpa, not really claiming that he was wronged or anything. He's doing a big apology to the league and to his team, but 3-game suspension. And the people he owes it to, Jeremy, are the fantasy owners. Live your life in a way that fantasy owners can be proud.
We're trying to field a team here.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. I have to get on the waiver wire on Sunday mornings to get your replacement. Get it together.
My 3rd round running back is out the door now. But between that and the Tyreek Hill boat incident, and then now we've got Iowa and Iowa State players. I guess it's FanDuel. They were betting.
Not just players, Chuck. Hunter Decker, Iowa State starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Now they're going into camp. He's not playing this year. I don't know if you know that, but what he did is, he could do prison time for it. He is not playing this year, and they have like a redshirt freshman who hadn't played a snap is their backup.
Yeah, so Matt Campbell probably should have jumped on one of those Big Ten jobs that he was bandied around.
You think?
Hey, I'm telling you, Seth Luttrell taught me a lesson that when the iron's hot, you strike.
Yes.
When you're
because if you're like Randy Edsel and who was the guy that it went down to Miami? He always wore a shirt and tie on the sideline. Golden.
Was it
Golden?
Who was the guy that was at Rutgers and then went to the pros?
Oh man, he's at Rutgers again.
He's back at Rutgers.
Yeah, he's back at Rutgers. Yeah. So what if you suck, you're still gonna get a bag of cash. Be like Matt Rule is still getting paid $825,000 a month by Carolina.
Yeah,
being
and
the
that's
head
the
coach
thing.
at Nebraska.
If you do strike when the iron's hot and you're a hot commodity, like you said, somebody's going to overpay for you.
Oh yeah,
And
get that
then
bag of
it
cash
doesn't
when it's
work out.
there.
You're sitting pretty. I mean, I feel
You can
bad.
always go back to North Texas.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can always go back to Rutgers. You can always go back to UConn, like
Was Al
Randy
Golden
Edsall
the
did.
guy that was having his guys in the NFL? Was he in the NFL for a while?
Oh, I don't know. Wasn't he the head coach at like Maryland or somewhere, and then took the Miami job?
It was something. It was something.
Yeah, I'm
Who was
I'm
the guy
pulling
that?
up his bio.
Who was the guy that was I think it was the Rutgers coach. That was he at? I think it was somebody at Tampa Bay.
Greg Schiano.
Schiano. Was
Yeah,
he?
and then Tennessee hired him, and their fans threw a fit because he had been an assistant under Paterno at Penn State
Oh,
during all
so he
the
actually did get the hire, but got
yes,
kiboshed.
and they backed out of that real quick.
Okay. But there was a guy, I want to say it was Schiano, that was at Tampa Bay or something, and he had his guys going full out on the final, take a knee
Oh yeah, yeah, on a victory
and
formation.
caused all kinds of grief amongst the league and stuff.
Okay, Golden was the DC at Virginia, then he was the head coach at Temple prior to Miami.
Temple, that's what it was.
No, he's the D coordinator at Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
And I tell you something that we'll have to look forward to here in the next couple of weeks. We'll need to put together a list of your and I's picks for New Year's Six bowls and playoff appearances and things like that, because you know who I'm rolling with. That's going to be
Georgia.
representing the Big 12 in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, of course you are, Texas. If you told me Malik Murphy was going to be the starting quarterback, I'd agree with you, but
Man.
I don't believe in Quinn Ewers.
Well, I mean, to me, they've got. Somebody said that Arch Manning wouldn't take an NIL deal until he was a starter, and then now he's got an NIL deal. So I think I saw that somewhere.
Figured he would, get on the first thing smoking to Ole Miss or Tennessee after this season.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if his two uncles, fared better in that central part of the Southeast, then maybe he would too. But I mean, here's the thing. I think that his dad is so determined to try to make his mark through his son in the family.
Texas is not the place to do it.
Well, no,
man,
because did you see how nervous he looked when they were walking the sidelines last season?
Mm-hmm.
He did a turnaround, and he did an owl's head turnaround in like split second. And I thought, man, that guy's tweaking or something.
Yeah, he probably got one of those boosters. Probably got a hold of him and laid down their list of demands.
Well, you gotta be the one taking the snaps, and here's the thing: if Sark goes with Ewers and Manning as a solid 1 and 2, then the other kid's probably gonna bail, go somewhere else.
He should.
I mean, who was the quarterback that they turned into a running back?
Gerard Hurd.
Rod Hurd. Wasn't he the one that
he played running back and a little
packages?
bit of tight end. Yes.
Yeah.
And then oh man, who's Bijan's backup? Johnson.
Rashawn Johnson.
Rashawn Johnson came
Was
to
he
Texas as a
at one
quarterback.
time?
Yes.
Yeah. And just think, I mean, and we'll kind of delve into this real quick in a few minutes, but there's another great quarterback that they could have had, but Mac Brown wanted to play him at safety.
Yeah. There's probably a few that Matt could have had that he either didn't offer or they wanted to play him at other positions
and that was the thing about that time period from the time Vince Young left, and granted they had Colt McCoy and he was what they, needed, or, great player, whatever the case, got him to the playoffs, and had he not got hurt, they would have won. But
of course.
But I mean, somebody did an article one time and read off the list of Texas quarterbacks that got away from them.
Oh, we've talked about it on air.
Sure. Because Garrett Gilbert was a 5-star, and and other players that they whiffed on, but quarterback for a period of 8 years was just something that they could not I
And
mean,
it's like
that's why Ellinger is looked on so kindly there, is because it could at least move the ball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could look at if you look at that list of names, it's a who's who of guys that are going to be in the Hall of Fame, or like Nick Foles, Super Bowl champions.
Oh yeah, Nick Foles, even going
Drew
back
Brees,
to Max
Matt
first year,
Stafford.
Matt Stafford, Andrew Luck was from Houston, but he was
Yep.
Stanford bound.
Drew Brees is an Austin kid.
So was Foles,
Uh-huh.
Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray,
Sure.
uh,
Kyler Murray. Kenny
RG3.
Thrill-Hill,
They wanted RG3 to be a receiver,
safety.
I think,
Well, yeah.
or was it
Kenny Hill.
Manziel? They wanted to be a safety.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was.
I don't know how you could ever look at Johnny Manziel and think he's going to play anything but quarterback.
Oh yeah, yeah. Speaking of Johnny Manziel, a story that I saw on Yahoo Sports is that he's come out and said that he was dealing with bipolar disorder during a lot of his spiraling times, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I still think that not a disciplinarian head coach, but a coach that offered some structure when he was at A&M would have done
Yeah.
him a world of good.
Who was his
But
coach? Was it Sumlin?
it's Kevin Sumlin.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a set of rules for everybody else, and then whatever Johnny wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, I don't want to get into the dynamics of hiring and stuff, but I mean, as much as anything, age, the age of the head coach will kind of be what sets the tone on that. Sumlin wasn't an old guy. He wasn't necessarily an old school guy, but I mean, here's the thing. And I put this on Twitter the other day, if A&M stays in the Big 12, they win the 2012 Natty.
Yeah.
I'll
Bob
always
Stoops was
believe
probably
that.
about the same age when he, threw Rhett Bomar to the curb.
Well, sure. And it's got to be your style too, but
Yeah.
I mean, Bomar was at a time where the school still had some control over students.
Yeah.
I guess
And,
was too.
I mean, from what we saw up here, if you did something that was going to negatively impact the program with the NCAA, you were
Oh,
gone.
yeah, I had no sense of taking a chance on it,
Right.
But
Like,
yeah, I mean, and Manziel says he attempted suicide in 2016, and so it kind of all comes together. But I mean, it's just a situation to me where you look at it and say, you were so big and you were so good, and you had such attitude.
he was his own worst enemy.
And nobody would tell you no.
Yeah. His own worst enemy,
But
like I said, if he had somebody in his corner that would have gotten his rear end a little bit, would have done him all the good in the world.
But I'm a fan. I mean, I'll always look back on his college career and say, the guy was just amazing.
He was electric.
Yeah. And, like I said, he got penalized then for doing things that now would just be, well, I mean, just the signing autographs and getting that's encouraged now.
Well, yeah, it's a different era.
Yeah. Speaking of different eras, and I kind of want to go into this, here's a little audio gold for you, Jeremy.
Here's Ventura, RBI single in the first. Watch out.
Look at that. I love it.
Delayed for a second. There they go. Well, Rodriguez comes up, grabs Robin from behind. Here's where you get gone right there when the two guys come up and grab you. Now three got him. Now Robin turns him around. Well, you can see that Nolan was hitting Robin right on the head, so he probably hurt his hand a
little bit. Obviously, they were the White Sox broadcast crew.
Was that Hawk Harrelson?
Yeah, it might have been. But no, 30 years today, Jeremy.
Wow.
And gave Robin Ventura a noogie.
I feel so bad for Robin Ventura.
Well, he did connect with one to the face. You can, if you watch the video, he did about 4 on top of the head, and then one was an uppercut. Had to have been right into the nose or the eye. But Nolan was a big man. I mean,
yeah, and he'd been throwing inside.
Oh yeah,
and they had said, if anybody gets hit, you got to charge.
Yeah,
you're gonna charge Nolan Ryan. What are you doing? If Nolan Ryan wants that part of the play, you give it to him.
He thought about it. I mean, it's not
And,
like he was straight out there. He was
and it
hacked
wasn't like
about a
he put
third
it
of the way.
between his numbers, you know. I mean, he was just
Oh,
throwing inside. He clipped his elbow.
yeah, yeah. Well, and it's funny because it's the 30th anniversary of that, and I remember in the mid '90s reading an article. I think it was remember Baseball Weekly.
Oh yeah.
That's great journalism.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Baseball Weekly, and basically the strikeout numbers were declining a bit, and plus you're just about into the Roy, really into the Roy era.
And
But
Nolan was 44 years old at that time, I think.
oh, I think the article I read, he was out of the league. But I remember saying
Okay.
anyway, and a journalist compared that, said that even though Nolan kind of kicked his butt, that just the fact that a batter charged in that situation, and maybe it was a little overreactionary in the article, but it said basically a whole generation of pitchers stopped throwing inside on
Yeah.
the chance that McGuire might come out and, and
What
walk.
would you think? See that Bob Gibson hit dudes all the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
And you know what? It was no if you got a hit off Bob Gibson in a big spot next time you're coming up, he was gonna
Oh,
next one was coming at your head.
yeah. Well, and I think at that time in the league, the person who wrote the article said Danny Darwin was about the only one left that would still pitch inside, and brush you
Yeah.
off. I mean, Danny Darwin.
Eric Shaw.
Yeah. But I mean, now, pitchers just they throw so hard and fast.
I know.
It might get away from him, might not, but I don't know. But that's a classic moment there. I mean, and think about this: of all the iconic pictures that have been used in journalism for baseball, that picture of Nolan with him in the headlock
Uh-huh.
be as classic as the shot heard around the world or something like that.
That's right up there with the picture of Nolan going to his windup with blood running down his face.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason he was my favorite growing up. And
They don't build dudes like that anymore.
Oh,
They just
no.
don't.
Yeah, and I might just sit down and watch the Nolan documentary to commemorate it tonight over a barley pop. So that was 30 years ago. I think that's about the end of my list. But congratulations to the Hall of Fame inductees. That will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Rondé Barber, Joe Thomas, Zach Thomas, DeMarcus Ware, Darrell Rivas. The more modern players that you and I, through our adulthood. Joe Klecko.
Wow. Finally?
Yeah, Joe
I would
Klecko.
have put him in just for his role in Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh yeah. I would say Klecko, and maybe his own teammate Gastineau would be in there. But is Klecko the best defender of the '80s? Not named Lawrence Taylor?
No.
No.
Ronnie Lott existed.
Well, yeah. Okay, so pass rusher.
Pass rusher?
Best.
I mean, he was
rusher of the '80s, not named Lawrence Taylor.
Pat Swilling was pretty good. Pretty good. Charles Mann,
Manley.
Richard Dent, Dexter Manley, Reggie White started in the 80s.
Oh yeah. So
Reggie White using wide receivers as projectiles when he sacked Randall Cunningham that time. He threw a dang wide receiver at him.
Yeah.
Reggie White's the strongest human being I think I've ever seen.
He would have been just.
Now, I think Klecko and Gastineau should get in to the Hall of Fame just based on the New York Sack Exchange nickname, which is just top shelf nickname of all time.
Exactly. That was mentioned in the article I read. So anyways, well, and Don Coryell, Air Coryell, and to be inducted as well, and then two players from the 50s and 60s, Chuck Howley from the Bears 1958, and then Ken Riley, Bengals cornerback 69 to 83. He was drafted when the Bengals were in the AFL and then lasted all the way to 83. Oh, Darrell Green, that was another one in the 80s.
Yeah, Darrell Green was amazing.
But
he was so fast.
Klecko was amazing. Maybe he was, it's always hard to tell with those, those defensive end duos, but the Jets could get after a quarterback back in the 80s.
Randy White had a sizable career in the 80s as well.
White, yeah. Randy White. When did Charles Haley get started?
I want to say late 80s.
Yeah.
I believe he was on the 90 49ers Super Bowl team, was he not?
He was on the 94. He was on the
94
Niners Super Bowl team and on the Cowboys 95 Super Bowl team.
Right. And
He's got
yes.
5 rings, I was told.
Yes, he does.
Huh.
And he was awesome too. He was born in 1964.
Air Coryell.
Is it? I mean, that's so weird that he's just now getting in the whole thing.
It
when
really
you think
kinda
of the contribution to the game.
Yeah. Zach Thomas, I think he's behind. I think
Okay, so Haley's first Pro Bowl was in 1988. So yes, he was on. Yes, 1988, his first
80.
Pro Bowl.
Who was he with?
I want to say he only played for
Frisco
2 teams
and Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, he was on the.
So he got Super Bowls with Montana and Rice.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I want to say that when he won the one with Dallas, that was 4 or 5.
Did he win 2 with Dallas?
No, well, okay,
Yeah.
he did.
He's 94 and 95. He won with no, I'm looking at the wrong line.
No, he
here.
won it. He was with Frisco in 94.
Okay.
So would he have?
I want to say he was with Dallas in the when they won in what 92? Was he with them then?
No. Yeah, I don't think I know Jerry went and got him for the 95 Super Bowl.
Okay.
Well, maybe he left before. Maybe he was too. Because
he was on
with.
Okay, so he was on the Dallas team in 93.
Yeah.
They won the Super Bowl that year. That was the year that Emmitt Smith held out and he threw his helmet through the wall.
Okay.
So 93 and 95. And then he went back to Dallas. Okay, so wow.
He left Dallas, won a Super Bowl with San Francisco in 94.
Mm-hmm.
And then came back to Dallas and won one in 95. He's got 5, right?
Yes, he has 5.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So he got
and he was a very scary person, according to
I don't think any of his teammates liked him.
According to former Dallas play-by-play man Dave Garrett.
Did you see?
But just a prince of a man.
Yeah. Met Garrett's daughter in a restaurant in Weatherford. She goes SWASU. She was going to SWASU.
You don't say.
Yeah.
And is he still working with UT?
No. Well, that's a good question. I think he's teaching school in Eastern Oklahoma somewhere.
That's right, he is. I remember seeing that on Twitter.
Because he had a night and evening show on a station in Oklahoma City.
Right.
Wow.
But yes, it was several times. That didn't. Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then I saw a deal. It was kind of sad, and we're going to close out here in a minute. But I saw Norm Hitzges throwing out a first pitch. I think at a Rangers game the other night. He was having to use a walker. Remember Norm?
Wow.
He was a journalist in Dallas back in the late 80s, early 90s. Really one of the more first flamboyant characters, where he kind of exuberant.
Just about the same time when Skip was around, and
yeah, he went back.
Okay.
In fact, they interviewed him for the Pony XS 30 for 30.
Oh, okay. That's why that sounds familiar. Okay,
Norm
that was
he was Rangers. I don't remember if he was the actual color commentary guy, but like in the pregame, on the Rangers broadcast, Prime Sports. Remember that?
No.
Okay. Well, breaking news: Utah and Arizona State apply to join the Big 12. So apparently, Arizona State, and Utah will join the fold.
That's pretty exciting.
I think it's good news for the conference. I think
it is.
I mean, here's the deal.
Right now, it's the second best conference or third best.
That's what
the ACC is.
ACC is about to go the way of the Pac-12.
Everyone's trying. Well, yeah, but their grant of rights doesn't run out for 30 years, and the buyout is an insane amount of money.
Florida State hates it, though.
Yeah.
It probably a couple of schools to start the exodus, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's on go ahead.
Well, you don't have many places to go if these conferences want to stay at 16 teams.
Remember independent teams?
I do, yeah. Well, Notre Dame is still one. BYU was one until this coming season.
But I mean,
Miami was
I remember
independent. Penn State.
Penn State, Miami, Florida State, and really, somebody posted a picture on Twitter the other day of a empty trophy case and everything Miami's won since they joined the ACC.
Oh wow! Yeah, they were in the Big East the last time they won the Natty.
Yeah.
Weren't they?
I had to look that up because I thought, well, because I know that like that year 01, they had a close call against Boston College. And it's like, well, Boston College ACC. Well, no, they were both Big East at the time. So.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And Boston College was pretty good back then.
Yeah. What's on your agenda this weekend?
Trying to stay cool.
Trying to stay cool. No links action for you.
Probably not. It's going to be too hot. I ate some yard work. Well, maybe not. It's getting a little crispy out there. Hadn't rained in a while.
The yard, I had a real plush yard going in, out of the 4th of July weekend. Now it's a little different, but hey, I'm going to be on the links a bit tomorrow. We'll see how long I last. It's a tournament in Clinton, or a scramble in Clinton. And, I'm in charge of the beverages, so we'll see how that goes, but
there you go. Drink lots of water.
Yeah. And I tell you, have you seen these videos on like Instagram and things with, who was Tiger's old trainer?
Talking about Hank Haney.
Hank Haney. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the performance golf. That stuff's a scam. Stay away from it.
Scam.
Stay away from it. It's a scam.
They'll
never leave you alone.
Personal experience, or
yes.
Okay.
Not so much. I mean, I bought a product from that company and it was good, but then they charged me for a few other things, and I had to effort to get my money back for things I did not agree to pay for.
Wow. All right.
I mean, there's some useful things there. That simple strike thing is okay, but you can get that off YouTube.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll duly noted. Thanks, Jeremy. And
sure.
Thanks for coming on. It's fun doing a Friday afternoon show with you, and the big weekend show carries on, and we'll have more and more fodder, I guess you could say, topics to talk about, and maybe eventually I can figure out where we can interact with our fan.
Yeah, we need to figure that out. I'll do some research there and send you the links I find.
I'll keep on it. Thanks, Jeremy. Have
right on. Hi, buddy.
He's Jeremy Schroeder. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, signing off here for the Weekend Big Show. Take care of yourself. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we'll talk to you down the road.